Good morning. The firm's fighting back against lockdown.
Good morning.
Just read the words, Dan.
No,
just read the words.
I was just trying to,
routinely we don't. That's the problem.
Bring it all together.
We're talking about retail again this morning. Do you remember last week we looked at whether or not it was a level playing field in retail? Good morning. And that's because retailers considered essential can stay open, so food shops, pharmacies and even hardware stores. But all non-essential retailers, including clothes shops, card shops and charity shops, have been required to close their doors all the way until the 2nd of December. Now, they are allowed to offer delivery and click and collect services as long as items are pre-ordered and collected without customers stepping in store. But it means that by the end of November, non-essential shops across the UK will have been closed for roughly a third of the year, depending on which nation you live in. And so it's been a very challenging time. Lockdown has, though, forced small shops to innovate in order to survive. And our consumer affairs correspondent, Sarah Corker, reports from West Yorkshire. And later, we'll be talking to the business expert, Baroness Karen Brady. You might know her from The Apprentice. She's also run 2 football clubs and worked with businesses in more than 30 countries around the world. We're going to ask her about a charity that she's helping to launch to support businesses and ask her whether the current restrictions are fair on smaller retailers. You know, interesting, Sarah reporting from West Yorkshire, Hebden Bridge, all of those independents doing really well, moving online to deliveries. It's sort of easier if you think about it in a small community like that where there's disposable income and people are investing in it. But it's some of the larger high street chains that are saying this isn't fair. If you run a card shop or a clothing retailers, supermarkets can sell your products and yet for you it's considered non-essential. Is that fair? We'll be talking to Karen Brady about that later on.
Thank you very much, Nina.
Good morning. The firm's fighting back against lockdown.
Tell us more. Morning.
I can indeed. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, we talked last week, didn't we, about whether the current measures in England are fair because non-essential retailers, so those selling clothing, greetings cards, home furnishings, for example, have been told to close. But the essential retailers, which have been allowed to stay open, selling food and pharmaceuticals, for example, are allowed to sell non-essential items. Well, in a couple of minutes, I'll speak with the business expert Karen Brady about a new charity aimed at helping those businesses on the edge. But first, Sarah Corker reports from Hebden Bridge in West Yorkshire on a business community adapting to survive. So they've adapted and are doing well, but it's not just small retailers that have been struggling. Research out this morning shows that almost a third of small businesses have had to dip into savings. 1 in 10 have had to borrow money from family. Lots of them are telling us that the support offered by the government just doesn't go far enough. Let's speak with Baroness Karen Brady, that really need this at the moment. How far do you think realistically £1,000 is going to go for them?
Well, it's interesting.
To hear what you make of the government's response to the pandemic when it comes to supporting business. So, for example, at the moment, essential retailers can sell non-essential items. We know that's destroying some small retailers. They've allowed big supermarkets to have a reduction in business rates. Are they playing this game fairly? Well, in a small community like Hebden Bridge, where there's the income to sustain those small independents, but, you know, with a view of you putting £1,000 to these smaller businesses, do you think the government could and should be doing more than they are? And, but particularly for those who work in football, how long can you carry on as a business with things the way that they are?
Well, look,
that things are just going to be very different post-pandemic. You know, I stood here and talked about the woes of the high streets long before COVID. Do we have to accept that some business models will not survive, but some that have had to adapt will actually thrive in a post-COVID world? Well, telling us that almost half of the businesses she's spoken to said £1,000 will get them through the next month. That's all they need to survive, but that is how close it is for many of them.
Micro loan, she was calling it. Yeah, thank you very much for that, Nina.